So are you thinking about living in Dallas, Texas? Or do you currently already live in Dallas? Well, this video is going to be really beneficial to you. We're going to talk about homestead exemptions, what they are, and how they save you money. And that starts right now. Hi everyone, I'm Betty with the Living in Dallas, Texas team. And while you normally see Levi or Travis doing a home tour or sharing some pros and cons to our Dallas area suburbs, today we're doing something a little bit differently. We're going to be talking about homestead exemptions, and those apply to all Texas homeowners. So if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Dallas and the surrounding areas, then be sure to subscribe below and hit the notification bell so you can be the first to learn about everything going on in our market. So let's get into it. What is a homestead exemption and how does it save you money? Well, essentially, it's a tax deduction that helps to reduce your property tax bill. So every year, the county assesses the value of your property at the beginning of the year. And they use that value to then calculate what you owe in property taxes. So when you have a homestead exemption, the value is capped. There is a limit on how much they can increase the value from one year to the next. And that cap is 10% when you have a homestead exemption. When you don't have a homestead exemption, then the values can increase significantly over 10%. And over the last few years, with prices skyrocketing, we have seen increases of 20, 25, 30% or more depending on the location of the property. So that is a significant impact to your property tax bill and quite unnecessary to overpay on your taxes if you live in the home and it is your primary residence. That is the qualification that you need to file your homestead exemption. Note that the exemption can be up to 20% of the home value, and that may vary by city, county, school, or special district. So the other way that the homestead exemption saves you money is through your school district. Essentially, they're offering you somewhat of a tax credit, and it reduces the taxable valuation of your home and in return lowers your property tax bill. So just to give you an illustration on the type of savings that are available to you, let's take a look at a home that is assessed at $500,000. When you apply the school ISD tax credit, now we're going from $500,000 to $460,000. That's a $40,000 difference, and that portion is not taxed at all. So using that 40 and applying a very simple conservative 2% tax rate, that is an $800 tax savings year over year. That is cash back in your pocket, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. One thing that I will note is that the $40,000, generally speaking, is the amount used throughout the state of Texas. There are a few exceptions, and so I've seen it as low as $25,000, but in most cases at $40,000. So you might want to check with your specific appraisal district office so that you can verify the amount of your school tax credit. And now let's take a look at a real example of a home in Collin County. In 2021, it had an appraised value of $300,000, and in 2022, it had an appraised value of $410,000. So immediately we're going to see that it far increases the 10% cap limit that it would have on the $300,000 valuation that it had in 2021. So now we're seeing that 110 really gets reduced all the way down to 30 instantly. And so now your taxable valuation in 2022 is 330, not 410. And so I'm going to compare side by side here the actual tax bill without your homestead exemption, without the school credit, and without the cap. The 10% cap would have been right around $8,700. And this home is specifically located in one of the suburbs in Collin County. So that is an actual number, right around $8,700 tax bill that you would have seen. Instead, the tax bill was closer to $6,400 because of that homestead exemption. So we're looking at over a $2,200 tax savings And that is every single year. That's not one time, that's every single year. And what you also want to think about, the average stay of a family in a home is right around 5 years. And so over a 5-year period, that is over $10,000, is actually over $11,000. So that right there is you're significantly overpaying on your property taxes if you are eligible for this tax credit and you're not using it. So that we definitely want to avoid. So let's take a look at how easy it is to file your homestead exemption. And by the way, it's free. So if you ever get mail that is asking you to pay a fee to file, that's actually an additional service that is not required. You can complete the form and submit it yourself directly to your appraisal district, and there is no cost involved. Hey everybody, here we are. The very first place where we want to go, this is where I normally begin, is Google. And very easily, what you want to do is type in your county. So I live in Collin County, so I'm going to do Collin County. If you live in Dallas County, you Google Dallas County Appraisal District. If you're in Tarrant County, you do Tarrant County Appraisal District, and so on. They're all very, very easy to find. And then as soon as you find it, it usually comes right up to the top. You want to click on it and go to the home screen. So here we are. This is the Collin County Appraisal District homepage. And over to the right-hand side here, you're going to see the site navigation. We're going to go directly to the downloadable forms. That's where we're going to find our homestead exemption form. The second option here under subcategories, that's the one we want to click on. And then now here's a list of all the files that are available. Today, we're going to focus specifically on the residential homestead exemption application. Now, there may be others that you qualify for, but you might want to spend a little bit more time going through, and I'll give you a couple examples. Most counties offer a 65 and over exemption. And also you can see here a disabled veteran exemption. That's just to name a few of the other exemptions that are available, but you definitely want to make sure that you qualify for them, and that's going to require a bit more information. So let's just stick with the residential homestead exemption. And just to remind you, the qualification is that you own a home in Texas and that you live in that home as your primary residence. That qualifies you to be able to complete this form and start reducing your property tax bill if you haven't already done so. So here's the form. It's pretty easy and straightforward. Sometimes these look a little bit more complicated than they really are. So in section 1, you want to do the general residence homestead. That's what we're going for here. And then you want to read all the questions and fill out the information accordingly. In section 2, you can click if you're single or if you're married. The one thing that you want to make sure that you fill out here is owner 1, owner 2, because you want to include the date of birth, the driver's license information, as well as the percentage of ownership for each person that is an owner. If you're single, then of course you own 100% of it, and so you can just note that there. As you continue to scroll through, it's going to ask you in section 3 when you acquired the property and when you began occupying it. So those are two different questions. So there's really two different dates. You want to make sure that you're clear on those. So if you bought a house and it was, let's say, for example, a rental property for the first year, then none of that time frame is you can't use the exemption on it. And so you may have purchased it in, let's say, 2001 or 2021, but let's say you began occupying it in 2022. Then 2022 is when you can post that date. And that's when the really exemption kicks in as far as when that window is when you started occupying it. I hope that's pretty clear. So you want to make sure that you fill that information out. It's asking for a legal description. That's not necessarily mandatory if you don't know it. But if we go back one screen over to the home page, and I'm going to do that right now, and you click on property search, you can actually type your name in here and it leads you to the description of your property, and that's also where you can find your legal description. Normally it has the subdivision name and then a lot lot, either letter or number, followed by block, letter or number. That's typically how it reads as far as legal description. So make sure that you complete all of the sections, and when you get down to towards the end here, it's going to say click to print. Now, everything that you typed in will be saved and will print on the form. The only thing you need to do is sign it, and then you'll need to mail it. Now, at the time that we are recording this, an online option to file was not available. That's not to say that it won't be in the future, but it currently is not. So you definitely need to print it out, you need to sign it, and that is going to either need to be mailed, or you can physically drop it off at your appraisal office. One thing that you want to make sure is that you include a copy front and back of your driver's license, because what they're looking for is for those addresses to match. They want to make sure that you're actually occupying the home that you're trying to get the exemption on. So that is basically going to complete this form. You only have to do it one time, and that will continue to transfer it. Basically, it is now the exemption is attached to your county file, and every year they already know that it's there. So when they go to assess the value next year, they know that they cannot increase it over 10%. Now, you might see that the value has been increased over 10%, but then directly next to it, you see that the valuate that how they calculate your taxes do not increase that 10% cap. I hope that was clear. And so what we want to do now is make sure that you kind of keep an eye on it. I like to look at it at least once a year, typically the first quarter of every year, and usually right around end of March, maybe early April, because that's when they're assigning values. And so I like to take a look at what kind of, how much did it jump up, or, did it go down, which here recently in Texas, nothing has gone down, but everything has gone up. So I like to look and see how much it jumped up. And then I also like to make sure and just confirm that my homestead exemption is still locked in on my file. So that basically concludes all of this. It will take you no more than 10 minutes. No more than 10 minutes, but will save you thousands upon thousands of dollars throughout the life of you owning that home. So I hope that was helpful to you. And remember, if you're looking to move in the next 9 days or 90 days, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We can also schedule a Zoom, and all of the information is located below in the description box. We look forward to seeing you and showing you around town. Until next time.